Hello and welcome to the first ever Carweekpodcast. I'm Connor.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Jack.
And in this podcast we'll be discussing everything cars. We'll be having car debates, we'll be talking about new cars coming out and just generally all about cars. We'll be also discussing motorsport, anything to do with cars, it will be here. So in this podcast we'll be discussing some new cars coming out, like the Tomaso, the Giannarelli. Is that how you pronounce it, Jack?
The Giannarelli.
The Giannarelli and the new Corvette. And in car debate this time, we'll be putting up some 2010 hot hatchbacks. I've chosen the VW Golf GTI Mark V. Jared, you've chosen?
The 2010 Mini Cooper S.
And I've got the Clio RS.
So yeah, should be an interesting podcast. And since it's a new podcast, you don't know our uploading schedule. What we're planning on doing is filming roughly every Monday over the weekend and then uploading every Wednesday. So that way, if there is a Formula One race or any race weekend, we can then get it in the podcast, talk about it, discuss our views on everything, and then it'll be all up and ready on a Wednesday for all of you to view and watch and listen.
Yeah, so hopefully by uploading on that time, we should get most of the news from the last week. That's our main aim.
And also to keep up with our uploading, we have a Twitter and an Instagram, which is
at Carweekpodcast
on both
of them.
On both Twitter and Instagram. So we'll be posting up there when the podcast will be going live, when we're filming the podcast. And if you just generally want to interact with us, send us DMs or anything that you might want to see on the podcast. You can do it also on there.
Yeah, all of that's welcome.
Everything's welcome. Any advice, anything you want to see, you name it, we'll try and do it. So yeah,
let's get into it. So the first topic on today's agenda is general car news. And Jared, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So what I've seen recently is a article about because everyone knows that Ferrari does a not like one-off car every so often, and they're making a one-off car called called the P80C and the SP3JC, which is based off the 488 GT3 race car, and it's been said that this car will take between 2.5 to 3 years to make one, meaning that there's a 5-year waiting list, which is why it's got this article.
Yeah.
What's the betting? He's going to do about 500 laps of the Nürburgring before it even hits the roads. That's all they're going to go for, is the fastest Nürburgring lap. And it's like, by the way,
everyone's got to now, don't
they? But the thing is, though, that they can do that because the car's not going to be road legal.
Is it not going to be road legal?
Nope.
Who's buying them then?
Is it going to be like the 599K?
The FXXK as well.
FXX, where you have to buy it. You
Yeah.
don't actually get it in your garage. Then Ferrari will take it to a track for you when you
With
say you want, with a pit crew when you want to go out. I just can't see. Why would you want to buy a car and not own it? I don't understand it.
Because
from
if you have the money to spend.
Because from the picture, it does look like a really nice car.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like the rear end,
Ferrari
the
do
fusion
know
and
how to
everything.
style.
But it is just ridiculous. Someone's going to spend millions on that and not going to drive on the road.
Yeah, them Italian fellows, you know,
Oh,
strange little people.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so I have some which I think is very exciting news to bring to the table, and that is that it's confirmed by the head of BMW M that the new M3 and M4 will both have manual transmission stick shift.
God.
And there's also going to be a four-wheel drive option. But this is a quote. He said, because an automatic transmission is just faster, you can ask any race driver, but the manual is what gives the vehicle character. Which I can agree with.
It's driver feel when you have a manual. You're more in control and you just feel better.
And that's what I want if I'm, getting a new M3 or
If you're going to buy an M3, what is it, like 30 grand for an M3 or something?
I'm not sure. New one's probably like, 35 to 40,
I say, but if you're spending 30 grand on a car, you want that car feel when you're in there. You want to
feel like you're driving what you've spent your money on.
Oh, exactly.
Not just sort of guiding it.
But I don't exactly know how I feel about an all-wheel drive M3 or an M4.
It does say it's only an option, but I mean, imagine the handling.
Oh, it probably handle.
Imagine the driving experience, only four-wheel drive and a stick shift.
I mean, BMW aren't going to make a bad car like that.
They'll have the same interior, but apart from that.
No, but just four-wheel drive, anyone? Oh, I don't know. And what I've found recently, I'm a big fan of Swedish supercars, so naturally I like Koenigsegg. I like the Agera, the 1-to-1, and the Regera RS. And now Koenigsegg are coming out with a new car called the Jesko. Has 1,578 brake horsepower, twin turbo V8, 5 litre, and what they're hoping is it will be a competitor to the Chiron, because that naturally the Chiron does.
It looks the part.
It looks the part exactly, but the Chiron does 300 miles per hour, and none of the other Koenigsegg's have managed to hit that. I think the
300 miles an hour.
Yeah, the fastest they've got so far is 277. This. They're hoping that what they've done theoretically in the wind tunnels and everything else is got it over 300 miles per hour.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, with its 1,578 brake horsepower. It's an automatic.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's an automatic transmission as well. 9-speed gearbox. The gearbox also is 90 kilograms lighter than the Chirons. It also, with that massive wing on the back and the big front splitter, produces 500 kilograms when it's going full blast of downforce. So it's going to stick to the roads as well. It's going to be a bit like a Senna going around the track.
I mean, I'd hope it sticks.
Like
going 300.
If it's not going to stick, you can fly away. But you know, it'll be an entertaining thing. But yeah,
I know that this would be a little bit wrong, but like I literally today I would watch the video on like stuff about like how Koenigsegg had started and everything.
Yeah,
and it was interesting to find out that that in their first ever concept for, I don't exactly know what their first car was, but it was meant to have a Subaru flat 12 Formula 1 engine. But it turns out in the season when that engine was being run, so it was in the 90s, it kept failing on every race.
Oh, reliability. Don't we all love it?
Yep.
And going back to the Jesko, it's going to cost you $3 million if you want to buy one.
I'm out.
And they're only making 125 of them. So get your orders in quickly if you're going to buy a Jesko.
So next, I'm going to talk about some new cars. And these aren't necessarily in the past week, but as it's the first podcast, these are new to this day. And the first is the Tomaso P72. There's only 72 of these being made worldwide.
Is Tomaso their own company?
Yes. So this is a little anecdote. When we went to BHP Car Show, there was this one dude. It's just this old guy, and he was sitting with this old sports car, and he had old racing overalls. He was sitting on a chair by himself eating. Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
And
was he on the hill? Was he the one on the hill?
Yeah, and he was just sitting with his race car. That was an old Tomaso. So they haven't made cars since. I think they made one concept car, and this is their comeback model, which I think looks impressive.
It almost looks like the GT40 that won the Le Mans.
Yeah,
24 hour. It's just got that body style shape to it. It looks really nice.
So it's full carbon chassis and like a monocell like construction. And it's 750,000 euros they expect it to be.
Okay.
Proper manual transmission. And one thing that I think to take note, anyone watching video will see if you're on audio. Basically, the interior is a lot of leather, and then everything else is a lot of analog rose gold. So the fact that it's analog to me means that this is going to be a classic for years to come.
Do you know what it sort of looks like? It looks like it just belongs somewhere in Monaco, like in the casino.
It's like a little art piece.
Just a little art piece. Just that it's like an armchair with a gear lever on it. It's mad.
I do urge you to look it up online because the interior is crazy. There's so much rose gold.
It's a beautiful.
You know what?
Beautiful car.
Like the interior reminds me of the one that was in the Bugatti Huayra. It was all like with the exposed gear linkages.
You mean the dining cabinet on wheels?
That
the fancy dining cabinet on wheels.
The fancy dining cabinet.
And I'm pretty sure I saw on their Instagram there was a picture with, if I can find it, I'll put it in. It was just like without any body, and a lot of the like mechanics work. Suspension was also made like it was rose gold as well. So like everything under the body is rose gold, and it made its debut at Goodwood. And I think it's going to be a classic for years to come.
The attention to detail, making everything even under the body rose gold.
Yep. But yeah, 72 being made worldwide. So.
Only 72.
And I mean, it starts at 750,000 euros, but for sure it's going to be a classic, 100%.
Definitely.
Especially if only 72.
It looks the part as well, to be fair.
Okay, and the next car is called, I think it's called the Gianarelli. I saw it on an Instagram advert, and it did impress me. And so this is they make it's a sports car manufacturer for today's gentleman drivers, is what they say. It's UAE based, has 325 brake horsepower, and is only 810 kilograms, so supercar performance. But it's quite like a classic in its specs. As a V6 6-speed, and if I was to describe it, I would say it's like an old AC Cobra, like a modern day one. So it's got those two headlights like on the body. It's small, 2-seater, long bonnet, lot of aero.
Like the roofed one that was like in like late GT and like Le Mans or something around that time.
It does look like it's going to be a classic though. Like it has the classic feel, but it is also modern.
Definitely looks like it comes straight out of like the 1980s or something.
Mm-hmm. And looking on their website, as much as it's like a race car, they also were putting a lot of emphasis on like being a road trip car. So like it's got comfortable interior. You could like sit in it for a while. The transmission isn't too aggressive.
Is it front engine, rear wheel drive, or what?
I'm not sure, but I mean, it's gonna be surely.
I was gonna say, just looking at it, looks
with
front
the length
engine,
of
rear
that
wheel
bonnet.
drive. Yeah.
The interior
front engine.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan. It's the steering wheel. You'd have thought with because on that picture has an exposed gear linkage as well, and they don't always do that. That's just an option. I don't know if
an
this
option
is a
extra.
sport
Do you
one.
want to see your gearing?
The dashboard is literally just all carbon with 4 switches, a hazard button, and a start switch.
You can't say it's not simplistic.
It is very simplistic, but I feel like they could have done some more. But maybe, I mean, I'm pretty sure their first design.
Does it even have a radio in it? If it's gonna be, if it's gonna be a touring car, like they say they want it to be,
a Grand Tourer.
Any sort of comfort and convenience in the car, or I don't know. But going back to that exposed gear linkage, I bet you have to pay extra just to have other panels removed to see your gear linkage. I don't exactly where you see you're paying your money for that, but you know.
I couldn't find a price, but that's the Gianarelli Design 1, and I think it is like a modern day AC Cobra.
It looks lovely. Don't get me wrong, but for a touring, if they want it to be a touring car,
it's just
put a bit more comfort into it, because it looks like a Sesto Elemento, like with the seat design. It's just like a bucket with padding.
Bits of foam.
Bits of foam over carbon fibre. That's
stapled
literally what
onto
it
a
looks
carbon
like.
fibre bucket. Like, that's a seat.
Yeah.
And for everyone watching on YouTube, do you see that little pocket in front of the gear stick? And for everyone listening, in front of the gear linkage, there's almost like, it looks like a little leather pocket. I don't know what goes in there. Do you see it?
Phones, wallets, something. I don't know.
No, that is your whiskey holder, because you want to be a true gentleman driving the car.
Actually,
you can't be a true gentleman doing drink driving.
The dials, there's like 4 dials in one up there.
What speed are we doing? I can't tell. There's too many dials in one screen.
So the next new car is something that has actually surprised me and impressed me, and it's the Corvette C8 Stingray. 6.2 litre V8, 495 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. So that is compared to modern day supercars.
Not bad for something
That's
American.
bloody quick, that. Something American. Well, to be fair to the Americans, what is it? The Camaro? What is it?
Which one?
The Camaro.
The one on Grand Tour.
Yeah, the one on the Camaro.
Was it the Executioner, or was that the?
No. Can't remember.
I know what you're on about. It's on the Grand Tour episode where they're in Detroit.
It had 1,000 brake horsepower, but they didn't upgrade any suspension, any brakes or anything. So essentially, they've been like, here's a load of horsepower. You're not going to be able to stop, and you're not going to be able to control the car. Good luck. I feel like they're going to. Have they done that with this, or have they actually given you suspension?
As far as I know, I think they haven't. I think this is going to be as in they have actually thought about it. It's coming out in 2020. And I think it's going to be incredible. 8-speed dual clutch. I think a lot of people are going to buy this as well, because it's only, they say starting at less than $60,000.
Less than $60,000?
I know, with 2.8 0 to 60.
What was it, V8 or V8?
V8, yeah.
I was gonna say, it had to be
ridiculous power for the money.
I was gonna say, it had to be somewhat American with a V8.
But do you know what that makes me wonder? If you can get a 2.8 second 0 to 60 in a car for under $60,000, there's petrol. Like, to compete with that, all the other manufacturers, what are they going to do?
I don't think you can compete with that at that point.
Is this going to be like a benchmark where other manufacturers are then going to be starting to make these incredible cars? For, I mean,
So they all have to come out really cheaply.
Because
all I'm going to say is though, the money you save on buying the car, are you just going to put straight back into it with all the petrol you put into it?
petrol tyres.
I mean, the amount of times you do the 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, that's like a gallon of fuel gone.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm trying to think of things in the UK that are, because $60,000 I would guess is like about 50k in pounds or something.
Round to the translation, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
50.
so
Yeah,
let's say for about 50 grand, what can you get in the UK? You could probably get like a F-Type R, a new one.
Yeah, something like that. Probably BMW, like an M Sport BMW.
Yeah, like an M5 or something.
Could you get a C63 AMG? Are they just below?
I think they're about 40 something.
Oh,
Maybe.
you could get.
Well, I mean, I just think that for that performance, I reckon a lot of people are going to have these.
Especially Americans, because you know what they're like. I like V8. I like petrol. This is the car
And
I'm
it's
going to
cool.
buy.
But I mean, because I think, like, when I've been to America, there is a lot of Corvettes around. And I mean, this is a Corvette that can challenge supercars. So it's like, you know when the Nissan GTR came out and it was ridiculous, but for a cheaper price?
Yeah.
That sold crazy. That was a record breaker. I think this may follow the same path.
I reckon as well, because like you say, most Americans drive Chevrolet. They're just part X their old Chevrolet for the brand new one, wouldn't they?
Trade in.
I was going to say trade in for the brand new Chevrolet. It'd be perfect.
It's because like the shape of it, like, because when I seen about this new, it's a Corvette, yes it is.
Yeah, Corvette
Yeah.
Stingray.
When I'd seen about it and read into it, because I thought it looks interesting. I wonder why they haven't done like the typical, like, what you would expect from a Corvette, like a front engine kind of thing. And it turns out that General Motors in the US ended up saying we'd reached the maximum potential that we could have got with the mounting the engine at the front.
Yeah.
So decided, let's put it in the back and go faster.
I didn't forget to mention that. Yeah, it's mid-engine, isn't it?
Is it mid-engine?
Yeah.
I presume so, yeah.
Oh, God.
Which, I
Americans.
mean, have Corvette done that before?
Nope.
No, like I said, I think they've all been
They've all
front,
been front
engine,
engine,
rear wheel
rear wheel.
drive. Like most things in America are front engine, rear wheel drive. Rear wheel drive? Rear wheel drive.
The back of it kind of gives me like a Alpha 4C vibes.
It
Do you see what I mean?
In a
Yes,
way, yeah.
it does, doesn't it? No, it's nice though. It does have a lovely rear end. What a
That was a
statement.
lovely rear end.
What a statement to just come out with. Oh.
Right, so now the next section is car debate.
Like we say, we're going to put up 2010 hot hatchbacks, and
Each of us are going to go through the specs of our cars, what they have, and then we're going to have a little debate to work out which is the best
we're
one.
going to try and come to a decision about what's best.
And come to a conclusion, but we're very...
I know Jack's a Renault
competitive.
fanboy.
Not a complete Renault fanboy, but there are
The
a
Renault
few
Clio,
that-
what is it, V6?
The Clio V6.
Clio V6,
No
yeah.
one can argue that
That
is
is
It's
exactly.
it's a nice car.
Beautiful car.
But A45 AMG,
Yeah,
Clio
but
V6.
They can't even be compared. They're in two different leagues. I mean, not in the speed, but just the Clio V6. It's a classic. It's just like
I'll let you off.
It's a
It's a
benchmark.
nice
it's
car.
got the engine in the back for God's sake. It's a Clio. It came from the factory like that.
Oh, but saying that, you are the person who likes, what is it, that Fiat, what is it, that ugly one?
Renault 5 Turbo.
No, it was the Fiat he saw on Instagram, that bubble-shaped one. He said they had like a smile on its face.
Oh no, the
Renault
Twingo
first gen.
Oh, is that what
God.
it
It's just a happy car.
You're such a Renault
I'm
fanboy!
not a Renault fan.
You are!
I just think the Mark 1 Twingo's a fun car.
It's an ugly car. It looks like
Oh.
the Cinquecento from the In-Betweeners. If you knocked the door off of it and replaced it with a red one, it would be.
I just want to reinforce that the car debate is about the cars that we've researched, not about me being
I
a
was
Renault
gonna-
fanboy.
I was gonna say we have got sort of off topic there.
Two car debates for the price of one.
Right.
2 for 1 deal.
Oh,
Enjoy.
Right, go for it.
I will start. Like I say, I've chosen the VW Golf GTI Mark V. Come out the factory with a 1.4 petrol and a 2 litre diesel. When you brand new buying one, it costs you just under 20 grand to get one. And then the selling price now has gone to about 5 grand if you got a decent one, low mileage, not rusted out.
£5,000, you say?
5 grand.
That's pretty
Five grand for a speed you're getting as well, because this is top 197 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 in less than 10 seconds, so you can't really complain too much at it. And considering most cars...
Less than 10 seconds. Are they afraid to tell us how much?
I don't think they want to disclose the full amount, because it'd probably be something like 9.8. Just sounds better if we put less than 10. And when you buy one of these, you normally get in your normal aircon. These also have, like I say, a 6-speed manual, and if you wanted to get the automatic, you get the awesome DSG gearbox.
Awesome and automatic in the same sentence.
To be fair, the DSG gearbox is like a performance. It's really, like people have had any sort of Golf with the DSG gearbox. When you're going down the motorway, you know when you normally get the over rev with a automatic where it just like revs out and then switches. This picks the optimum and then changes as if you was actually racing with a manual. So DSG gearbox, better than in the Renault. And also on this, I think it was with the R32 or the normal GTR or something. I think the Polo GTR, I'm not too sure. Somewhere around there. One of them was 15mm lower. They lowered the suspension just to give it a little bit more performance on the car. And got a cruise control, xenon headlights, sat nav. Yeah, it's just all round really good car.
Solid car
for you.
I like that you picked a picture where it's got a bit of missing bodywork.
So I have to take car to drive.
Yeah, you've got to push the limits with the car. Come on. Yeah.
So,
what have you chosen then, Jared?
I've chosen the Mini Cooper S.
I just see hairdresser car when I see it. I don't know if that's just me.
It looks it, but like.
Oh, he's coming in with.
Oh, he's got some facts
it
now.
It looks it, but
you
it's got
wait.
a V10.
A V10 Mini. Yeah,
you're being a bit modest there. V12 at least.
No, W16. So like,
Rivals the Bugatti.
from factory, 181 horsepower from a 1.6 litre turbo. For second hand, depending where you're looking at, you're looking between about $2,000 or $3,000 for a decent one, I'd say.
How much do you say? What was his brake horse?
181.
181. So for around $2,000 more, you get about 16 more brake horsepower?
Ooh,
sounds like an absolute win to me.
But
VW's already down, Mark. So my what's he doing?
Yeah, but like
anything to push the car.
For 0 to 60, like you're on about your Golf and like, oh, you get 16 horsepower more. Yeah, but at least that they can give us set time of it can do 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds, not around 10.
Less than 10.
Why be specific? There's no need to be. It's a hot hatchback.
Well, I would accept.
You get to 60 when you get to 60, okay? No complaints.
I'd expect more from Germans.
He's got a very good point now.
I mean, if there was Italians, you could sort of get away with it.
Yeah.
But the Germans, a bit more efficient. Come on.
Yeah. But stuff that comes with it is like, all in all, it's just what you'd expect. Bluetooth, USB, iPod adapter, smartphone integration if you wanted it. And
Well,
it's
these
just,
are all optional extras.
but
isn't it?
then the stuff that actually comes with it is just speakers, aux, antenna, and radio. Really, it's really pushing technology. Let's say.
There's one thing I hate about all the Mini Coopers.
They
The
have to look-
stupid dials. Like, what was someone thinking? Do you know what we need to do with the dials for the speedo and everything? Put a massive one, probably about the size of a clock, right in the middle of the dash.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you don't need to look at your speed until you're scared.
Were you ever gonna get scared in a Mini Cooper
Oh.
S?
Someone could.
One thing I didn't realise till very recently.
All you need is revs.
Because I hadn't been in a Mini, is that as well as the middle one, they also have an electronic one above the steering wheel. I always thought people just had to look in the middle at the big one.
Yeah, they're just going along. Yep, give me a second.
Hang on. What speed am I doing? Am I doing 13 or 30? By the time you look down, you've about killed 4 children.
I did find it quite comical though, because the speedo is so big, and to fit, like, obviously it's just
To fit it in, they've had to just
there's
mold
quite a
it.
big space between each of the miles per hour, so you're literally watching it slowly go up and down.
And with that 16 brake horsepower less, definitely slowly.
Says the 0 to 60 in somewhere under 10.
You don't need to know. You can time it yourself.
I bet you.
You want to know your brake horsepower. You don't need to know your 0 to 60. Right, Jack?
So, the car I have, the Renault Clio RS.
Surprise, surprise. Renault.
So, I mean, when they were new, they were about 15 to 21,000. But now you can pick them up from 3.5 for one with, you know, a couple of miles, a little bit.
What are you saying? 100k miles and the seal's all rusted out and you can't
And
jack
then
it up anymore?
If you want a nice second-hand one, you might have to fork out about 9 grand.
9 grand for a
maybe
decent
this is-
second hand.
No, not for a decent one, for a nice one. You could get a nice one for about.
What's nice?
4
Just
to
under
5.
100k miles.
But it's just a solid car. I think it might be, might be a bit of a classic. That's why the values, it's not doing too shabby.
You'd say that about any Renault.
Brake horsepower 203.
Ah.
Exactly. You're all quiet. I'm
Fair
sure the
enough.
extra little
Fair
couple will
enough.
do something.
The 6 brake horsepower, will you even notice it?
0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds.
What was
Jared's
yours?
trumped me here.
6.2.
6.2. However, it's not. Well, it is less than 10, but they actually felt they would tell us.
They tell us the actual 0 to 60 speed.
And top speed of 138 miles an hour.
Bloody hell. Fair play.
Yeah, it's 2 litre, 4-cylinder. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at the pictures that they released for the interior,
Has it got Recaros as standard?
yep,
Yeah.
Renault Sport Recaros, which look sick.
They look beautiful. They
Don't know
look
about
comfy
the
and all.
fabric, but they look good. The actual whole dash, I think the wheels a
Did
bit bulky.
did they have a seizure when they got to it? It was like, let's make these really nice seats and then, dash.
Yeah, the wheels a bit bulky. The dash is nothing special.
And
it
the
doesn't give
indicator
me the
stalks as
sporty look.
stubs.
And what I like is it's got the racing stripe on the top of the steering wheel, where you got the wheels pointing straight.
Yeah.
It's on such a bulky steering wheel, like an ugly steering wheel. It does not look in place at all.
I just still want to know what they were on, like, on any model Clio going up to 2010. Why does it have indicator stubs? Why can't it have a stalk like a normal car?
Something that's sticking out to me is that the
Not the indicator.
Not the
the the beans gauge,
The
beans
gauge.
is very sporty.
It's very yellow.
and red and sticks out.
I feel
They haven't made the speed one yellow though. I don't know if
Have
that's
they made it yellow
deliberate.
just because it's like amber warnings, like you're getting a bit too closer, you might shake your car to bits, and then when it gets red, you're like, you've done it now, mate.
No, I think it's yellow. So like, if someone happens, let's say, have like ADD or something, driving along and they just get focused on the revs. Like, look at me, I'm doing all these roads, but they're doing like 60.
You had one job to turn your phone off, and you leave it on.
Failed.
For God's sake, my man, what are you doing?
Oh, it's all mutiny.
No, but like I say, I just still think all that amber is you're shaking your car to bits. Stop, please.
We're like an amber weather warning.
Okay, so car debate over. The Clio wins.
When did the Clio win? All it's
Okay,
got,
let's go back.
all
to
it's got is 6 extra brake
okay,
horsepower, and that's about it.
brake horsepower.
It also
what are
comes
you
with
on?
baguettes.
Let's do top
197.
trumps before we debate.
197.
181.
203. Clio wins that top trumps. 0 to 60.
6.2.
6.9.
Sub 10 at some point.
10. I bet it's leaving less than 10. I bet it's 10. Okay, Jared takes that one. Oh, bells and whistles. I've got cruise control, sports seats, Renault Sport like body panels, a little bit of a wide body, tinted windows. Some of them came with,
I've got aircon, a 6-speed manual, and a DSG gearbox, depending on your choice, whether you want manual or automatic. The suspension's lower on it, by 15 millimeters.
Okay, you win. You don't have to.
Cruise
show us.
control,
I literally
xenon
think
lights,
for my-
sat nav, aux. Do you want me to keep listing the stuff?
I actually
Okay,
think for my choice, with like the only thing I didn't list as it comes as standard is aircon. All it has is radio.
It has radio.
It's like, but
Can we also just say that the VW looks a lot better on the inside than the Renault and
The
Mini
VW,
Cooper?
I would say, has the best interior.
I was going to say, because
Yeah.
Renault just sort of forgot what an interior is meant to look like.
And
And
went
They
off
got,
for
they
like
got the
a
nice
baguette.
seats. And
they
then
got the
just
seats right.
Threw up on the dashboard.
And then Mini just sort of said, you know what? You need to see what speed you're doing. You'll have it right in the middle of your dash in a big screen.
And I'm pretty
it's
sure
for the passengers.
It's for the passengers.
I'm pretty sure the Mini
You know
interior.
backseat
I
driving?
mean, is it anything special compared to any other Mini?
No, I don't think it is.
More
I
the
think
fact
it's
that
the
he's
The
exact
got
same.
Renault's
just
differently.
Don't know what you mean. You got your yellow stripes everywhere, and then you got nothing
If-
else.
Tomorrow, you had to have one of the cars and you would have to keep it for 5 years, what would you take?
Clio RS.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are you abandoning your Mini like that?
Well, no,
Because
honestly, what would you take for 5 years?
For far,
And then we'll do 1 year because I think that's very different.
Right. Because of the dash, like if that didn't have the dash like that, he looks. How could you get in your car and look at that every day? I'd be ashamed to be in a car park and someone looks in on my car. I'd be like, I'm sorry, but no, just because of that, I'm gonna have to go with the VW because the Mini is just out of the question. If this had a better dash, because it's got the Recaro Renault Sport seats, I would have that. But since it's dash, easily VW.
For 5 years, I'm not gonna lie, I'd go VW.
Would
I
you?
think long run, I think a VW is a good car. However, for 1 year, 100% the Clio. The Clio would be so fun.
To be fair, for 1 year, because I've only got to drive around for 1 year, I would also go with the Renault. And
Jared, what are you feeling?
I'd say like.
tell you what,
Obviously, for like 5 years, I would decide on the Clio because I just quite like it. To be honest.
tell you what I'd do. I'll get the Clio and then I'll just rip out the dash. You don't have to look at it anymore.
But for 1 year, I would probably go with the Cooper S just to see why people did like them.
Because they're hairdressers and they need to get to their clients quickly, and that's about it.
Hey, you see some decent ones around with 20-year-olds.
But okay, now exterior.
Exterior.
What one looks the best?
Can we go back and have a quick look at it?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but the Golf. I like the look of Golfs compared to the rest of them. I'm gonna have to wipe it out of the question.
Really?
I like it. I like it in general, but compared to the Mini and the Renault.
You honestly telling me that Mini looks nice to you?
Yeah.
You are taking the mick, right?
From the outside, I like the look of the
You are
piss.
taking the piss.
Jeremy,
You think that
what are
looks
feeling? What are you
nice?
feeling?
What-
I wouldn't say that's.
what
I
I'm-
don't know. I like the Clio
One
as
thing
well.
is like they all of them look nice in their own
Yeah,
way.
I like the Golf. Don't
one
get me
thing
wrong.
that-
I like the Golf.
that sort of turns me away from the looks wise of the Golf is the wheels.
Yeah.
Like the actual body,
100%.
the actual shape
Right,
of the body
so-
is nice, but
right.
the wheels just like.
So the minute you buy the car, someone unbolts the wheels for you. You could get whatever
That's not
wheels,
as it comes,
whatever wheels you want.
Okay, well, give mine a V10, put a spoiler on it, put a new dashboard on it, and then yeah, it'll be at the top. But come on, this is what it comes with.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you have that one.
But I like the look of the Mini. Do you not like it?
I honestly think it looks shit. Like all Minis, in my opinion, because they all look similar. They just look ugly. They look boxy. And to be fair, though, I am a massive fan of the classic Austin Mini. Didn't know
Yeah.
the original,
What are
not
you
this
feeling, Jared?
revamped pile of shit.
What I'm
Oh.
what I'm feeling is like I know it seems I'm going to get this car I picked, but I do have to say I like the shape of the Clio.
Really? Go to the Clio.
Okay, but also
Like it's just got that wide look to it. That's just sort of like kill me.
look the front. I mean,
The front's
It's
The
mediocre
front
at
is
best.
the
But the-
wheels are nice,
the
Really?
back's what
but
makes
the
it though.
back.
I'll give you that. The back looks really
And it's
nice.
got the wide fenders with the little bit of air on the inside. It's got a really nice diffuser, dual exhausts. I think the back looks.
Honestly,
very nice.
it is the best looking rear end out of all the three that we've seen.
And you two would only see the back of it 'cause it's too far.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know what my 0 to 60 speed is. So
Slow.
Wow. I can't think how many-
How many seconds? Somewhere near 10.
Somewhere around 10, if you feel like it. But you know, nah. But I just don't know. I think the front just weighs the Clio down too much. That in looks wise.
Do you reckon?
I just
Okay.
the back, honestly, really good. The
Yeah.
front, it's like they forgot about it. There's like, tell you what, we're gonna make a really nice rear end, nice diffuser, 2 exhaust tips, wide fenders and everything. And then there's like, oh, we've got to do the front of the car. Oh yeah, just take any normal Renault and just put it on the front, please. Yeah, just do that.
Okay, so let's set some topics. So looks wise, vote on what you think's best. Vote on the Golf.
What
Which one looks the best?
are we just saying which one we think looks the best? VW.
Clio.
Clio. So that's one for the Clio.
See, I just like the shape of the
but
VW as well.
Back of the Clio.
Yes,
I
but,
like
but the front of the
I
Clio.
think if I was to do top three, it would go Clio, Golf, Mini.
Can we
But
all
I like
can we all agree
the
on one
Mini.
thing though?
reliability.
The Mini. No one likes
I
it.
don't. I kind of like it.
Oh my.
I like it, and
God.
they
Okay,
and they
reliability.
work.
You've won.
Yeah.
The Golf's won.
It's Volkswagen. Apart from when was it Volks? No, don't worry. I was
Just
thinking,
keep
did
your win.
I'm just trying to think. Did any of their cars explode? No, that's all right.
It's German. Okay,
Might
performance.
not pass emissions test, but you know, it's right.
Okay, no, we need to come to a conclusion. What's the best car?
Volkswagen. Jared?
So I've got to go Clio.
Oh, we swayed away.
Like I like the Mini, and like obviously like I think in the past like
Didn't like it enough
My-
to vote
like
up
my,
on any of the things, did
well,
you?
since it's more because I know that it's a nice hatchback. It's a good hatchback. I've been in one where like in the past my dad's owned the 2006 model, so it's relatively same to the 2010, but it's just like to me it's like it just works. It's not sort of like special about anything. It just sort of works and doesn't sort of
And does it well.
It does it too well that you can't sort of enjoy it.
What's this we're talking about?
Okay.
I completely tuned out. Sorry. I was sitting there like, I completely forgot what we were talking about now. Oh,
One thing I would like to say. So you went with the Golf.
Golf.
You went with the Clio.
Yep.
Curveball. I think if I had to choose one to be the best car,
No, you're not going to say what I think you're about to say.
I might have to say the Golf.
Oh, I thought when you said curveball, I was like, he's not going to say Mini,
I'm
is
sorry,
he?
but maybe it's because I've grown up around VWs, but the interior's nice. They're comfortable.
They're so reliable.
All the technology's there. It is fast. It's gonna be. I mean,
To be fair,
I guarantee if you drag race these three, apart from the Mini,
I reckon it'd be
there's
quite
not gonna be
close.
much in it.
I reckon it'd be quite close if you did a quarter-mile drag race.
100%. I think.
Renault, Mini, Volkswagen. If you want to just reach out to us, you know.
Not with an old car.
I don't
If
care.
anyone
If
owns
someone
one,
owns any of these,
yeah.
find an airfield and tell us.
It's fine. That's fine.
But,
Liv will let us
yeah.
drive on it, wouldn't they?
I'm gonna go with the Golf
Good lad. Good
because
lad.
I think if I had to buy one tomorrow, I think I would have to. I would invest my money in the Golf. Is it a cheaper car as well?
It's cheaper than.
It looks. I like the looks.
It's not the cheapest. His was the cheapest, the Mini.
Yeah,
it was
but
cheaper than the Renault, though,
the
wasn't it?
Mini's cheap for a reason.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
clapped. It's clapped. Let's just say it how it is.
Okay, so the Golf has won the car debate.
To be fair, I didn't think I was going to win that for a minute. I was like, oh,
You are on
they're,
the right
they're
track.
both strongly backing the Clio here. Oh,
I
God.
like the Clio, but I think if I had to buy one tomorrow, I would spend my
See,
money on
I'm,
the Golf.
I'm quite
Yeah.
swayed on all the new Golfs as well. I like the Golf R, the new Golf GTIs. Like,
Even the
see,
GT,
out of like the new Volkswagens, I quite like the Scirocco or Scirocco R.
oh, I do like the Siroccos as well. Everyone says, oh, they look flat at the back. They look really fat and ugly. I was like, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
There's
like-
something about it.
They do look really good.
One car that I love from VW is the Polo GTI, and I saw a Polo R, and I would happily buy one. I think they look incredible. I think we'll come to the conclusion.
I think that's all for the very
For the
first
car
episode.
debate.
The car debate and the very first episode, I think, isn't it?
Should we do a little sign off? As it's the first episode, I think we'll take this last bit to just kind of introduce and talk a bit about the podcast. So I'd like to start off by saying that, I mean, I think we have big plans for this podcast. We're going to try and upload once a week for forever.
For the foreseeable
Yeah,
future.
for the
at this
foreseeable
point.
future, we're
Yeah.
going to be going through.
Mm.
Topics-wise, like today we did new cars, car debate, and general car news. In the future, we're going to have racing.
Yeah,
like
we'll be talking about any
motorsport.
motorsports. What was the other topic we were just thinking about? Crashes and fails that we find on YouTube as well. Any recent ones, any old one, like anything we find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I don't think we mentioned when we was going through social medias and everything, we do have a YouTube channel. That's why we were saying audio and video listeners. So
Yeah.
if you want to find that on YouTube, it is Carweekpodcast, isn't it?
Yep, Carweek Podcast. And it will have the complete podcast on it with a video of us sitting in the studio and
Studio the Shed.
and
All good things start in a shed.
all good British things starting the shed.
Does it work? That's all I'll say. Does it work?
Swimmingly.
Yes.
And on the video podcast, for the topics we're talking about, we're gonna display the pictures and like what we're seeing on our screen on there, so you can kind of link in with what we're doing.
And
all
also
times.
on the YouTube channel, in the video description, there'll also be links to the social medias, the Instagrams, the Twitter,
anything that we feel like we can links to that we mentioned in the video.
And also the Twitter and the Instagram will be doing updates on what will be going on in the podcast, when the podcast will be uploaded, like behind the scenes of us filming the podcast.
Yeah.
So any updates or anything going on will be on Instagram and Twitter.
I mean, outside of the podcast, we all get up to a lot of general car shenanigans. So I think we'll be putting a lot of that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Us messing about.
Our own
going to
car
events.
shenanigans. Trying to get a 90s box micro to work.
It works, it works. I promise. Oh, actually, that's a good thing we should say. Currently, what car do you own, Connor?
I own a 2015 Ford Fiesta Zetec S ST line red edition.
Jared currently does not own a car.
I currently
However,
don't own
he
a
is
car.
shopping for one.
Yeah.
So that will update as the podcast
Because he's
goes
minted, we keep telling him to buy a C63 AMG.
That is a lie.
And if you check the Instagram, maybe we'll do a little segment about Jared buying his first car.
And Jack, what is your car you've got?
So I own a 2006 Ford Fiesta Zetec Climate. It does the job. It's a perfect.
Does it
little
get you to
first car.
point A to point B?
It gets me to point A to point B comfortably, and I think it doesn't look too shabby either.
I mean, yours
it's a good
looks
looking
a lot
car
better
for
than
the age.
my old first car. It
Oh.
had that little spoiler on the back.
Yeah.
And
The
mine
little
was,
spoiler where it was a 5-door.
oh, mine was a 5-door, and it was a pilot.
Yeah. 5-door just sells that.
To be fair, I did rag the out of that car. It was hanging to bits at the end of it, but you know.
But I also own a 1996 1.3 litre Micra. Which
That's
is
what
my
we was talking
project
about,
car.
Micro, when I said 90.
It's in the process. It's nearly MOT'd. I'll put some of that on the Instagram
Nearly.
actually.
Oh, yeah, plug
Getting
your
it
plug
road
your
legal.
plug your.
Oh yeah. So
Instagram.
if you want to follow the build on screen, it will be on there for the listeners. It's at K11_project. So if you want to follow the build or anything, but I'll be putting some shenanigans of maybe like once it gets road legal, taking it to its MOT. We'll put that on the Carweekpodcast Instagram.
I think first you got to fill out them massive craters of rust holes you got.
There's surprisingly
Duct
less than I
tape.
thought. But I need 4 new tyres and I need to wire the horn on, and then we'll be close. But you also race.
I race. I do a form of motorsport called Autograss. It's basically we race on a dirt oval, quarter-mile oval, standing starts, 8-car grids, various classes. And I also race a micro, but not the K11 like him. I race a K10 micro, all fitted out for grass racing. So custom suspension, custom inlet setups, engine's been built up to the limits of the rule book. And we've got roll cage in it, everything you need for off-road racing. And if you want to check Autograss racing out in your local area, because we do it countrywide, just look up NASA Autograss. You can find your local clubs or anything.
Is that NASA?
Yeah, NASA Autograss. Otherwise you get taken to NASA. Yeah, it's just a good fun day out to go watch.
Maybe next race Connor does, he might have to do a little Instagram takeover and show his experience.
Might have to.
That might be something interesting.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
But yeah, no, this is our first episode. We're just getting to grips. We're learning.
Yeah. Let us know how everything went.
Yes, a lot of constructive criticism. Just criticise the hell out of us.
You say constructive. There'll be nothing constructive.
Basically, if you actually have any advice, tell us what can be
Oh,
done
even
better.
if you just have an opinion, I want to hear it.
Just
Even
we
if it's
want to
bad.
know
Just-
anything at
just
this point.
fire.
Yeah, pretty much.
Far
Yeah,
away.
I
It'll
think-
get better as time goes on.
Yeah.
The studio's done the job. The studio is a garden shed.
It does the job.
Oh yeah, for the audio listeners, it is a garden shed. If you live in the UK, it's been very hot lately. The week of the 26th. It's the 26th today, so
Of July.
this week it was the hottest day in July.
Was it actually
Ever,
the
I
hottest on
think.
record?
Hottest day in July ever.
Oh, right, okay.
So we are sweating in the shed, but it's got sound deadening, it's got lighting, it's got a monitor, it's got mics.
It's got everything we need
you
for a podcast.
Yes, for a podcast.
But I think that is as good a place as any to end it.
We will see you next week.
Hang on, make sure you rate the podcast
Oh, yeah,
on
rate it.
whatever platform you're on, Apple, iTunes, anything.
Spotify.
Comment, like we said, give us any criticism, and subscribe. It really helps us grow and all that.
Yeah.
And if you could tell your friends, put on Twitter or anything. Just
People are into cars.
we're just trying to get exposure and just trying to grow at this.
And like
point.
we said, it'll get better as time goes on.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Connor.
I'm Jared.
I'm Jack, and yeah, I hope to see you again
Yeah,
soon.
hope to see you again. Bye.
Thank you.